Prize money to be spread around. A record amount for a... Hello again, everybody. I'm Keith Jackson. NASCAR, from its very beginning, has done everything they possibly could, making rules change after rules change to keep their racing competitive. And this year, on this Firecracker 400 day, on the 2.5-mile super speedway at Daytona, they've installed a slower carburetor on the cars to slow them down. Very quickly, the definition of it, you'll see the old carburetor and the new carburetor, and very simply, this is the way it works. You reduce the size of the venturi, reducing airflow, thereby reducing fuel, and thus reducing speeds. This comes after Bobby Allison's flying crash earlier this year at Talladega at the Alabama International Motor Speedway. There has also been a window installed on the passenger side of the car and a skirt underneath it to help control airflow, in effect, help keep these cars on the ground. Our analyst for our coverage today, the Firecracker 400, a man who won this race in 1970, Donnie Allison. Donnie, now what does this really mean insofar as the drivers are concerned, slowing the cars down? They have effectively done it, but what does it mean?
Well, really, Keith, what's happened is they slowed the cars down enough to give the driver better control. They all feel more comfortable. The draft is going to be very, very important, and they're driving it instead of riding it.
So that semi-errant missive is now under control, and that probably means the draft is back in. We'll see some freight training.
I'm guaranteeing that. And some of the older guys that were here when the draft was so important might have a little advantage on some of the younger fellows.
Yeah, some of the young lions have never been hooked up in an 8, 9, 10-car draft, so it might be a new experience for them, especially the first time they try to pull out a line.
Very definitely with a little carburetor, you're going to see something like that.
Then it'll become a question of whether or not they can then regain posture, but I would guess once you pull out, you're liable to lose quite a bit.
I'll guarantee you better stay in line. If you don't have help to pass a guy, you're not going to get by him.
The fellas doing the heavy work along pit road today, and heat is going to be one of their prime subjects all day. First, Jerry Gappins, and then Dr. Jerry Punch. Let's go. I only got one to go. Yeah. Start this time around. They're going to start this time around. You start two in each row in the Firecracker 400. Let's set quickly the front part of the starting grid. On the pole, Davey Allison, son of Bobby, 24 inches faster than the man outside, Bill Elliott. Elliott won the last two Daytona 500s, won this race 1985, both T-Birds. Row number 2, car number 90, another Ford, Ken Strader. He's going to be carrying our ABC camera in his car today, and we should have some excitement watching from his machine. Outside in row 2, GM represented by Morgan Shepherd's Buick, number 26. Row number 5, the veteran Terry Labonte. Number 11, a Chevy, never had much luck here, may be due. Number 27, Rusty Wallace outside row 3, a Pontiac, pole sitter last week at the Michigan 400. Row number 4, rookie Brett Bodine running alongside of A.J. Foyt, who won this race in 1964 and 65. Row number 5, Buddy Baker, number 88, the veteran. And number 75, Neil Bonnet, a winner in 79. Row number 6, it is number 22, Bobby Allison, the father of Davey the pole sitter, and Kyle Petty, the son of Richard. In row number 7, it's Dale Earnhardt. Close to another $1 million year for him. 7 wins, 14 starts, never won a big race here. And outside, it's Bobby Hillen, another one of the young lions. Now, as they turn down off turn 4, we'll see if Harold Kinder, the flag man, puts up the green. He does, and the Firecracker 400 is underway. Bill Elliott bidding for the lead, going into turn number 1. Davey Allison inside. Let's see if the young fella's going to race him. Everything going very sanitary through the first 2 turns and coming down off the back straight. Everything still very clean. Davey Allison, car number 28, going for the lead, getting the lead, and holding the lead as they head for the end of lap number 1. So the youngster went racing with Bill Elliott and got the lead.
Well, I'll tell you,
400 miles.
I'll tell you, Keith, he just pulled right away from him on the start. It was really surprised me.
Davey Allison and Bill Elliott running 1-2, and there's been no major move in the structure of the field as they begin now to go into the single file. As Donnie Allison said a moment ago, they're no longer just riding at 200-plus miles an hour. At this speed, you're going to have to do some racing. You know, they're drivers and they're racers, and they're not necessarily the same, because when it comes down to push and shove in the middle on of a race, the racing man usually is going to have an edge, and there's some old-timers out there who know everything there is to know. How about freight training around the super speedway? You'll see once in a while before this day is done, a couple of guys hook up and make major moves because the guy in the back is pushing, the guy in front pulling, and therefore in a drafting circumstance they can run faster than anybody else out there running by themselves. But right now what you've got literally is about a 20-car draft.
Well, really and truthfully, Keith, that's exactly what you see, and they know they cannot get out of line unless they have another car to go with them and help them. And the way they're running right now, I won't see any of them front guys getting out of line.
Davey Allison and Bill Elliott still sitting right up there. Allison, Elliott, Schrader, Shepard, Labonte, Wallace, Bodine, Ford, Baker in that order. And here's the man who started in the number 3 spot, Schrader. Our camera aboard his machine, and as you can see, he has given up some posture on the racetrack. He is running in the number 10 position, so Ken Schrader has lost 7 spots off the first couple of laps. But it's a long, hot day, and when the temperature inside the car gets up around 150 degrees, we all talk about how it impacts the driver. Sure, it impacts the driver, but it also impacts the automobile. And if you get in a situation where you're running a low gear, lower gear perhaps, than a fellow running in front of you, your chances of burning up a piston become increased considerably. And so far, one of the reasons everybody seems to think of the Ford success this year, Donnie, is they're able to run with a little less RPM demand.
Well, really and truthfully, they have the advantage that way, Keith. They do not turn the engine as much as the GM cars do, and as a result, they've been living longer. But they've been having a lot of valve trouble lately.
Right now, the Fords are sitting up in front as the Firecracker 400 rolls along with more than $500,000 in prize money at stake. And it is hard to see the numbers. Why don't we come back with the first 5? Can we do that, or the first 6? Which now sort of, this first 6 are breaking away a little bit. With the first, can we get the standings of the first 6 cars? No, but let's, if you can mat them, because they're kind of breaking away now. Are they? Okay. On the wall. Takes out 2, 3, 4 cars. Was it 13? 13 running.
I don't know who started.
Yeah, but 99 did his damage down here on the pit wall.
But they got together way back over there the first time, Keith.
Yeah, back going into 4.
Going into 3.
Richmond. Tim Richmond. Let me see it again. Can I? I can't see what started it.
Mike Pearl. You want to do something on this? He's got 2 cut tires. Whether they were cut before or after, I don't know, but.
Cut it before or after? This way, left side.
Okay. We'll go down to the tip. Here the tires that just came off of Tim Richmond's car. This car tire flat spotted a little bit, cut in there. Whether it was cut before or after the crash remains to be seen. And then you see what a spinning car, 3,500 pounds of pressure on one of these tires will do to a tire in a spinning situation. As Richmond now returns to the pits, they're going to make some more adjustments. He has damage to the rear of the car. As you can see him putting fuel in the car, and it looks like the defending champion doesn't have a very good chance of winning here at the Firecracker 400 this year. Back upstairs to you, Keith.
What lap did that happen on? Left? Okay. I guess your order would be the slow-mo and then the restart, right? Right. All right, they're coming up right now. We've got the standings. Okay. Do we have a top 10? Yeah, I know who the top 5 are.
Do you want any kind of report on Lake Speed's car, Mike? He was involved in that thing up there, too. Okay, all right, fine.
It's 8 and Neil Bonnet's moved up some too. He's Jerry, and anticipating green now as the pace car pulls off and the field strung out in single file. It is Davey Allison, Bill Elliott, Morgan Shepherd, Rusty Wallace, Terry Labonte. Dale Earnhardt is running 7th, having moved up from number 13, and the green is out. A.J. Ford has moved up to the number 8 spot, and Neil Bonnet is now running 9th. So the old pros are making their move, and Dale Earnhardt just made another move, and he made a bid for the number 4 spot, and looks like he's going to get it. He's running tandem up there right now, so he's trying to tuck in behind Morgan Shepherd. So Earnhardt, who has never won one of the majors here at Daytona, making a spirited bid. But right now, the front 3 cars of Davey Allison, Elliott, and Morgan Shepherd threatening to pull away in a 3-car draft.
Well, what's happening, Keith, the guys behind are running side by side. Earnhardt and Terry Labonte and them are side by side, and you're just not going to keep up running side by side.
You see the 3-car tandem, or that's a small freight train coming down here in a 3-car draft, and now Earnhardt has definitely moved into the number 4 spot, and he'll try to grab a little bit of help from that front 3 and slowly close in on them. But that front 3 now running as if they're all linked together. Morgan Shepherd losing a little space there, coming down off of turn number 2. You can't let much space get out there, because if he gets any farther back than that, he'll lose the impact of it.
He sure will. And see, right now, Earnhardt is really feeling that front draft, so he'll catch those guys in a few laps if they keep going like they're going now.
Speed dropped off because of the accident and the yellow flag to a little better than 122 miles an hour. When the early going, they had been really whistling up over 185. It was a cool morning here at Daytona, so as the race got underway, there was a nice cooling fresh breeze, and not as hot as some Firecracker 400s I can remember. And right now, the front 3 continues to pull steadily away, and Dale Earnhardt has been hooked by Labonte. So Labonte is hanging on to Earnhardt, so in effect, you got a 3-car draft, and then you drop back to a 4-car draft.
Right. Well, see, that's Buddy Baker right behind Earnhardt, and then Neil Bonnet and then Terry Labonte now, the way they are right now, and those guys know how to draft, so they'll catch up.
Car number 99, Brad Teague, out as a result of the accident, and car number 83 has also gone out of the race. That's Lake Speed. He was also bumped around in the accident, so they are officially out of the race, but Tim Richmond is still out on the racetrack, limping, but still out there. I would guess, Donnie Allison, that the kind of field we have today, and now you see that gap beginning to narrow between Dale Earnhardt and Morgan Shepherd. But I think today that patience is going to be worth something before this one is done.
That's the name of the game today, really, Keith. The guy that's impatient, he's awful not to be here at the end of the race to see.
Now, what happens here when you get a 2 or a 3-car draft going and they can run snug and tight? You saw them pulling away, and then they established a 4-car draft with Earnhardt getting some help from the following cars, Baker in particular, and now they have been able to close the gap. So it is now, in effect, gone from a 3-car draft to a 6-car, 7-car draft. And if that doesn't, you don't think that has some meaning, you just try sometimes and see how it gets whacked when you pull out a line. And Earnhardt is now in 3rd place, coming down off turn 3. He is tougher than a doorknob, I tell you, and he is now 3rd.
He just blew by Morgan Shepherd.
Now he's closing right in behind Elliott. So it's Davey Allison, Bill Elliott, Dale Earnhardt running in that order. Earnhardt will not pass the $1 million mark in winnings, even though he has picked up $150,000 by leading the Winston Cup halfway standing. There's another $350,000 in prize money being assembled and ready to be sorted out and awarded as a result of today's race. But first place belongs to Dale Earnhardt, and with it, $150,000. So his total winnings for the year, better than $910,000 to this point, and he has long since been a millionaire. The running order is the same. Davey Allison, Bill Elliott, and Elliott is very content to sit right there. And he'll stay right there until we've got 3 or 4 laps to go if Lady Luck rides with him in the Firecracker 400. Baker's going to help Earnhardt, and they're going to run right up in and make it a 4-car.
Back off the gas.
Broadway where? Cleveland? How pretty. It's thrilling. We suppose they're doing a picnic gig, is that what it is? Or the really falling off now. Who's fifth? That's the fifth here and coming down. And can he pick up anything coming down? No. Yep, let's see. Yeah. I can hear you now, yeah. I can hear you now. They couldn't hear me a minute ago, I don't think. Yeah, I hear you now. One earpiece. Took 4. Who is that? Boyd? Hey, Mike.
Ken Schrader.
Huh?
Ken Schrader.
Ken Schrader? So he's now 4th, right? Schrader just moved back into 4th spot. Okay. So he's way back. So far, yeah. What does it look like from Schrader's car on the back straight to the front 3? Can you see anything at all? Maybe we pick it up. Yeah, when they come down off turn 3, Jimmy, if you'll try that shot, maybe we can do something with it, huh? Yep. All right, now he's in turn. Let's go coming down off 2 on the straightaway. All right, here we go. This is a picture from Ken Schrader's car, our ABC camera inside, and way out there in front, the 3 front runners, Davey Allison, Bill Elliott, and Dale Earnhardt. Schrader is now running in the number 4 spot, doing a fine job of working his way through the traffic, but the field now is beginning to string out as the 3 front runners are pretty much in command of the race right now. But Donnie Allison, interesting to me that Dale Earnhardt pulled alongside Bill Elliott, made a bid for second place, no room. They did not let him get in there.
Well, really what happened, Keith, is his car is really straining to keep in the bottom and keep up. You know, that's the reason why he's running so high right now. He's getting a little help, a little more help up high in the draft, and he's hanging on is all he's doing.
Incidentally, A.J. Foyt, who came from 19th place to win here in 1964, is out of the race. Transmission has gone bad. Richard Petty and Buddy Baker, 2 of the great names in NASCAR racing, have gone 85 races without a win. And we got a move now as Davey Allison drops down off the racetrack and comes in to the pits. So he's undoubtedly coming for fuel. We'll take a quick look at how it goes in his pits, because the pit work is going to be very important in this kind of a race where there isn't that much difference. So the Firecracker 400 rolling along. We'll be back with more in a little while. Right now, let's join Al Trautwig. Good stop. Davey have a good stop. That means Elliott's got to come pretty quick. He and Earnhardt both.
I figured they'd come in at 34th, 5th lap.
Mike, these guys are going to have to come by lap 36. So you're going to have a succession of pit stops coming up here in the next 3 or 4 laps. So Davey did not come in under the yellow, did he?
3's in now.
Earnhardt is on pit road. Outside tires. Shepherd's hanging on.
A total surprise for Davey Allison, the young driver leading here at Daytona, ran out of gas with only 32 laps. We're standing with his crew chief, Joey Knuckles. And Joey, you got to be surprised running out of gas that early.
Well, and we ran a lot of caution laps there, but the car was out of gas. It took exactly 21.2 gallons, and that's all we can pick up. I'm kind of stunned. Maybe we've got a slight gas leak. We'll try to correct the problem when we get a caution here, but we'll be in serious trouble if we don't have a lot of cautions today.
Well, Davey Allison may have a problem. When you run one of these cars out of gas, you can easily burn a piston. That can cost you the motor. We'll see what happens with Davey Allison. Got to be due pretty quick.
7 laps more than Davey. Elliott's car just simply running fast and low, so he's running faster. Right. Where are they now? Where's Elliott and Earnhardt?
They're fixing to come back to second and third. Because all the rest of the guys are now pitting.
They're all pitting
on the board.
Right. Has Labonte made his stop?
Yes.
Richmond's worked his way back up there too, hasn't he?
Well, he hasn't stopped. See, he stopped that first car
watching.
No, he's fun.
Yeah.
So that really gives him an advantage, like 71, same way.
No way we're going to put a segment on the air with Dave Marcus leading.
No way.
About 15 laps or so.
problem for Davey Allison. They have a carburetor problem. They made an earlier pit stop much too soon for fuel. Now they've deciphered what the problem is. They got a screw in the back of the carburetor that's fallen out. It's leaking gas out of the carburetor onto the engine. They got to bring him back in and try to fix it. explain what happened to Davey Allison. Davey Allison having a problem. The screws in the rear of the carburetor have vibrated out, allowing fuel to leak out onto the motor. This is why they got such poor gas mileage on their first stop. They have brought him down pit road, replaced these screws. Now he's back on the speedway, but he's lost a lot of valuable time. Let's go further up pit road to my colleague, Jerry Gaffney.
Well, another front runner having problems, Jerry, is Dale Earnhardt. Here's his car owner, Richard Childers. What's the problem with Dale on that restart and running out there right now?
Well, we lost the transmission on that last pit stop. We'll just have to hope the cautions and stuff will fall right where we can make one long run there at the end, have a chance to draft back up to them.
When you say you lost the transmission, you mean you lost most of the gears except high gear?
Yeah, we've lost everything but the main drive, high gear.
Is that a disadvantage in the early part of the race? If it goes green, can you still make it in high gear fine? Can you still race competitively?
Well, we will, but it'll really hurt us on the pit stops getting in and out. You know, that'll really hurt us.
Okay, you're defending Winston Cup champion. Problems out there in the car number 3. Keith?
reports also, but those two reports are tied together, aren't they? So I'd go ahead. Yeah, they do. See, they're shuffling everything around now because Waltrip missed his pit and went from first to about 7th. Petty is now 4th. Waltrip went all the way from 1st to 5th because he missed his pit. You want to use that Allison Earnhardt thing up in segment 1, huh? Or in the first part? Right. Right. Coming off the pit stop. You had an incredible streak of driving for about 3 laps by Earnhardt when he was way, 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 way back behind Elliott. Way back. And he went through, he passed 4 cars 3 abreast. Oh, man, it was spectacular.
Mike, after this restart, you'll get some more of that because he only has high gear. He cannot start with the other cars. So when he gets rolling, he's going to come on.
That's why that story will hold up. Well, I'll do it pretty early because Allison's now 3 laps down and literally out of the race. Ford's winning it. What we'll do, Mike, is this. We set it, set the leaders, and I'll tell that Waltrip missed his pit, went from 1st to 5th. And then if Jimmy can find Earnhardt, if we can locate Earnhardt where he is. Hey, Walt, do you have any idea where Earnhardt is now? Do we have any idea where he is as far as his position?
He's got to be 8.
8? Okay. So if we lock in on him, we might see him moving around.
You'll see him lose a lot on the start and have to gain it all back.
Yep. So it's Ken Schrader, Rusty Wallace, Terry Labonte, Richard Petty, and Darrell Waltrip. So we might try it, see how it goes, huh? It's a way to update everything. Right, right. You don't think they don't know how to run races down here? Yeah, I wonder who threw it out there. One more lap. Yeah. Right. All right. You got 15 cars on the lead lap, and Elliott is way back. In fact, Elliott is 15th, and Earnhardt is 8th. All right. Well, don't ISO on him yet, Jim, because I need to set the first 5. Oh, okay. All right. Right. Okay. I got you. I understand. Back at the Firecracker 400, Daytona, International Motor Speedway, Keith Jackson, Donnie Allison, Gary Gappens, and Jerry Punt. All standing by for the restart after some debris on the racetrack. We're getting to the point in the race after 250 miles where things are starting to fall off the automobiles. Ken Schrader in car number 90 is the leader, followed by Rusty Wallace. Then comes Terry LaPonte, Richard Petty, number 43, running fourth. Darrell Waltrip, during the yellow flag at a pit stop, missed his pit and dropped from first to fifth place. Right now, Dale Earnhardt is running in the number 8 position, and Bill Elliott is running in the number 15 spot. But what the yellow flag does in NASCAR racing, Winston Cup racing, it bunches everybody back together, and those who would try to lead this race, like Elliott and Earnhardt, have got some work to do making their way through traffic. And remember, they have put the smaller carburetor on the cars, slowing them down a little bit. And today in the Firecracker 400, we're watching the draft become more of a factor than we have seen in recent racing seasons.
Well, you know, Keith, what happened like Earnhardt's situation, you know, he just cannot go when they restart. It takes him 3 laps to get speed built up, and especially with a little carburetor, that really hurts him.
Let's tell you why this is a problem for them. First, let's go back to the pole sitter, Davey Allison, who is now 3 laps down, as Dr. Jerry Punch and Jerry Gappens give us those stories. Gentlemen, and as we come back, Rusty Wallace in car number 27 has bolted out into the lead. Rusty Wallace, who has had some moments this season, but is still looking for the big major win. But his car has shown at times to have the speed, and he's sitting out in front right now. But still a long way to go in this race. Bobby Allison, for example, has not been a factor in today's race at all. He's been running way back all the time. He is 1 lap down, sitting right in behind the leader right there, Rusty Wallace. So Bobby Allison having a hard time of it today at Daytona.
Really what happened, Keith, he had to make an unscheduled pit stop, which cost him that lap. He has run awful good. He's not been one of the guys right in the front, but you know, up until right now, if a caution does come out, I'm sure he'll try to get that lap back.
It is also at the point, Donnie Allison, where the handling factor can change, because they've been wedging the cars, they've been adjusting, they've been working on the tires, they've been learning a little bit as time goes on, and almost inevitably you see somebody, well, like a Rusty Wallace, who makes his move on Delta time and coming out of the back, and suddenly because of the factor of luck, the pit stop, and what have you, the yellow flag, bingo, he's up there in front.
Well, right, Keith, and they do learn as they make their pit stops and make adjustments, and they do make the cars better, as you can see. Darrell wants the cars a lot better now than it was earlier in the race.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. when they have been running under green, and they have been running under green much of the day. We've had only one real accident, one shunt in the race, and that wasn't particularly serious, though it did take out 2 automobiles. But Tim Richmond, who was very much involved in that accident early on, he's still out on the racetrack and still running quite effectively. The interesting thing, though, is whether or not Dale Earnhardt and Bill Elliott, as they work their way through traffic, will be able to simply avoid that element of bad luck, because all it takes is a little slip here or a little slip there by either themselves or somebody within 3 or 4 feet of them going at these speeds, and you've got a problem.
Keith, I know from past experience myself, he does have a heck of a job trying to come where he's coming from without getting in trouble.
Well, when you're running with only one gear, and that is the top end of your transmission, as Earnhardt is trying to do here, you're literally giving up the better part of a lap before you have your momentum, before you can generate the kind of velocity that you need to make your way through the pack.
Keith, it takes you at least a lap to get to speed.
But once he gets it, he's still just as tough as ever. Now, you can see him back there in the pack, that yellow and blue car. He's running very low. He's well back of this group of leaders here, being headed by Rusty Wallace, and there are some people, for example, Bobby Allison there, who are not on the lead lap. As we had the restart, we had 15 cars running on the lead lap. Morgan Shepherd now has moved into the number 5 spot, and Darrell Waltrip, working his way, has come back to move into the number 2 position. So it is now Rusty Wallace, Darrell Waltrip, Terry LaPonte, number 4, Rick Wilson, who's been hanging on, and Morgan Shepherd now back into the picture, running in the number 5 position. So Allison now has passed Rusty Wallace, so Bobby, in effect, unwinding himself right there. So now he is in the same lap as the leader, but he is way back, almost the full length of the 2.5-mile racetrack here at Daytona. Still a long way to go in the 1987 Firecracker 400, and the issue is very much in doubt. That works, Mike? Yeah, he did. Well, let's let him sort out for a bit here. So Johnny made the point that Darrell's car was working a lot better. So let's watch him and see what goes on now. What's Elliott doing?
All that fast. Right there. He went into the lead and dropped off the pace, coming off the 2.
Jim, if you want to give me a shot of Labonte when he coasts down pit road, I'll pick up on it if he comes in. Here he comes. No, didn't come. He really dropped right out of it. Earnhardt is now 4. still out there.
Yeah, with something wrong with his engine.
Yep. As we come back to the Firecracker 400 now, the leader is Darrell Waltrip. As Donnie Allison noted, looked like his car was working quite well, and he immediately made a bold move and went into first place. Dale Earnhardt, at the same time, has been equally bold and charged back into the number 2 position. Hanging on to number 4 is Rick Wilson. Terry Labonte's car has gone sour. He just had the lead for a moment on the back straight and just flopped right out of it. So car number 11 has got a problem right now. And Ken Schrader, car number 90, is 4th. And Morgan Shepherd, number 26, is running in the number 5 spot. Richard Petty was sitting up there in the 4th spot a few minutes ago, but pulling off the pace as well. So it's Darrell Waltrip leading right now with Dale Earnhardt setting in second place. And Earnhardt now is getting Waltrip in his sights. And he has accomplished the effect as he goes the home straight, passes Waltrip to take the lead. So Dale Earnhardt running on 1 gear, high gear, but he's in first place. You don't think he isn't a racer?
I'll tell you, Keith, that he really has had a chore coming from where he started. After he got his momentum, see, about 8 or 10 cars passed him on the restart.
It's got to be frustrating when you're sitting there grinding away with your 1 gear and everybody else is blowing you off the racetrack. Waltrip now, having had the lead, falling again off the pace. Shepherd moves up into the number 4 spot. And you're also getting to the time of day, Donnie Allison, where that old heat factor is starting to get a hold of your equipment. And you know the man is getting tired by now, but so is the car.
Well, I think the biggest thing, Keith, is, you know, the tire situation. You know, the racetrack is definitely hotter now, and the first of the race was pretty cool, and I don't think the guys really got an idea what the tires were going to do. And, you know, if they chose to put on a tire with a little bit more stagger or a little less stagger, it might have been the wrong way.
And these are the things that you have now gone through in the early portion of the race that are going to mean a whole lot in the last 50 or so miles.
I'll guarantee it means a whole lot.
The leader is Dale Earnhardt with Ricky Wilson in second place. Waltrip now third, Shepherd 4, and Schrader 5th. And Labonte steadily falling off the pace as car number 11 just sort of backed up on the back straightaway 3 laps ago, and he is not able to hold the pace right now. Labonte pit now with Dr. Jerry Bunch.
Well, problems with Terry Labonte. They are having a session here. Let's try to find out what's going on here. We'll get over here and maybe get a comment with Tim Brewer, the crew chief. Tim, what's the problem with the car?
You know, he was running Walker back over there for the lead. All of a sudden, he thought he blew a hose off the car or something. You know, it's just steamed the windows up. He jumped out of the gas. Everybody went by, but everything was, you know, came back to normal. The windshield cleared up, so, you know, you got to run them back down again, I guess, Jerry.
That's Tim Brewer. There may be a potential problem. We'll keep an eye on Terry Labonte.
Well, maybe it can cure itself, but it'll be an upset if it does. The field now is relatively strung out. You've got some of them running 2 abreast, back in the number 8, 9, and 10 positions. But right now, out there humming all by himself is Dale Earnhardt with Rick Wilson in his mirror. And Wilson's hanging on to him pretty well, isn't he?
Yes, he is. And, you know, his car runs awful strong far into the straightaway, Keith, which tells me he's got a little higher gear in it.
Wilson has not had a whole lot of luck. His best finish so far in 1987 has been 11th in Atlanta. He had a 14th at Riverside.
He ran awful good last week in Michigan, though, Keith, and you're going to see some things of Rick Wilson.
That's an Oldsmobile he's driving. So the GM folks are setting up in 1-2 position right now. Richard Petty, King Richard, running in the number 8 position right now, and he's been here so many times and done so well with his performances at Daytona. I think there are at least 2 generations of NASCAR racing buffs who probably believe that Richard Petty invented this sporting activity. He didn't invent it, but he sure did help. Richard is going to retire, but when he does decide to hang up the helmet, he is going to leave a legacy that's going to take a big man to surpass. King Richard. Running order, Dale Earnhardt in first place. Rick Wilson second. Ken Schrader third. Dave Marcus, who's having a good day in this Firecracker 400, now fourth. Morgan Shepherd running in the number 5 spot. A lap down. They say up here no. Marcus is not a lap down? Yeah. Okay, that's correct. I don't think they'd make that kind of mistake. So they could.
No, that last restart got it all jumping up like that. See, it moved him way up in the line.
Yeah. Somebody's dead coming floating home here. Car number 7.
Yeah, the beer.
Wiki.
Alan Quickie, yeah. Bobby Allison needs a caution. He's pulled away a pretty good bit from Earnhardt now.
Wilson just took the lead. No. Wrong car. Yep. Done one throw to Troutwood. So you're going to him twice? Okay. He's now 5th. Well, he was 7th 2 laps ago. He's now 5th.
So far back because he was the last one to make a pit stop. Yeah. That's what's taking him so long to get back to 5th.
All right, I'm waiting for him to take 4th. Relieve Richard. Who would relieve Petty?
Who? Joe Rutten?
Somebody's relieved Richard Petty. They're going to. Going to be? Who the hell is it? Oh,
just tell me they're changing drivers. Tell me who it is.
Lake Speed. Alan Kulwicki. Trader just going back to the lead. Got 30 laps to go. 29, actually. Have they decided yet? Where's Petty's car now? Richard Petty in the famous car number 43 swinging down into pit road now, and the plan was earlier that to have a close watch on him in case the heat got to him, and it appears since we've got another driver down there that Petty may be leaving the car and somebody replacing him. Alan Kulwicki is going to replace Richard Petty. You see him, saw him come walking up to the car. Now we're told it's Lake Speed going into the car. So So Kulwicki and Speed were both there, and it took some time before they made the decision as to which man they wanted in the car. And now we're told it is Lake Speed going in to relieve Richard Petty in car number 43. And you can see he's absolutely soaking wet and exhausted on a day when the outside temperature is not that uncomfortable, but inside the race car, brutally hot. Up to 150 degrees, perhaps. The leader right now is Ken Schrader, followed by Dale Earnhardt, Rick Wilson, Dave Marcus, and Bill Elliott has moved back onto the scoreboard in the number 5 position, having come from well back in the pack. Why in the world couldn't we find out who was going in that car? Gosh. Can't get it started. Richard Petty has just climbed out of this Pontiac. And Richard, how are you feeling right now? A little bit tired?
Well, I was feeling pretty bad, and now they can't get the car out of the pit and feel even worse.
You just get out of breath or a little bit overheated out there?
And my eyes got to burning, but my nose got to burning. I said, the heck with this. I don't need no.
Well, the king, Richard Petty, out of his car. Keith?
And the car won't run. It's still sitting on the road as they try for a second time to push it away and get it moving. The leader right now is Ken Schrader. Rick Wilson is in second place. Dave Marcus now third with Bill Elliott fourth. And now, let's join Al Trautwig. Stops after these, guys. It'll be firewall time, and And Earnhardt's got to be a story again because he lost a lot struggling out of the pits.
See, if they have a caution with 10 or 12 laps to go, he don't stand a chance.
Yeah. It's obvious. It looks to me like it. Yeah. Right. I don't know what the standings were when I gave them. They've changed all over creation now. Oh, what was the standings when they had the yellow, going into the yellow? The tape would be simpler. I don't remember what the standings were. Remember, Elliott was 4th. Marcus was 3rd. Earnhardt was 2nd. I'm pretty sure I can give you the 4. I think the standings were Schrader, Earnhardt, Marcus, and Elliott, 4. But I don't remember who was 5th. Yeah. Earnhardt was there.
He stopped.
Huh?
He had already stopped.
No, I'm talking about before we hit the yellow. Just before we hit the yellow. No, that's not it. Right? But that was before the yellow. It would then be Marcus, yeah. All right, you want a wild line to pick up on that, right? Coming off the interview? Okay. Here we go. Ready? And Richard's Petty car still sitting on the pit road. Lake Speed, relieving him, is the shorter man. That car is set up to fit Richard Petty, and Donnie Allison just told me that he had relieved Richard Petty on occasions, and that's the most uncomfortable car in the world for Donnie Allison to get into, and that may be part of the problem that Lake Speed was having with it, too, that he simply couldn't reach all of the pedals and the instruments. So, number 43 having its problems as the Firecracker 400 wears on, with Ken Schrader, Rick Wilson, Dave Marcus, Bill Elliott now having moved up to 4th, and Morgan Shepherd running number 5, and we go back to Al Trautwig. Well, you're a little early yet, aren't you? That early. Well, you got a bunch of nobodies running up there in front right now. You got Brett Bodine. No, he's gone. Marcus is now leading. Bodine is second. Rick Wilson is third. Grader 4 and Elliott 5. All right. We'll have the finish of the Firecracker. We'll have the finish of this 4th of July holiday Firecracker 400 from Daytona in a little while. All right, Bodine just pitted.
That's why he was second.
Yeah. Let him come around one more time, and then we'll go. All right? Where's Earnhardt now? What position is Earnhardt in? He's got it right there. Now a lap down. They're still showing Brett Bodine. No, now he's gone. Okay, Rusty Wallace is up there. That makes sense. All right, you all, will you tell me when you're ready? A good shot of him. Is that it? Is that him? The leader in the Firecracker 400, as we can see now, the finish is the veteran Dave Marcus. Dave Marcus, who has won only twice in all of the races that he has run on super speedways. And he's been around a long time, and he's driven a very steady race today. And what a holiday this would make for him. Donnie Allison, you drove a lot of miles with Dave Marcus as a competitor.
Right, and Keith, he's really run good all day. You know, he's just been kind of overlooked, I guess, in the shuffle with Earnhardt and Elliott and those guys, but he has run extremely well all day.
Earnhardt right now is a lap down. Marcus is leading. Rick Wilson is second. Ken Schrader is third. Bill Elliott still in the thick of things, running number 4 now. And moving up into the number 5 position, car number 33, and that's a familiar name, Harry Gant. So suddenly, Harry, another old pro, surfaces in the late going of the Firecracker 400. Marcus, incidentally, was the 8th driver to pocket or win $1 million. He became the $8 million man in Winston Cup racing. So he's been around. He's paid his dues. He hadn't won all that many times on the big racetracks. But right now, he's in the catbird seat. He's leading. And Rick Wilson is right now not putting any pressure on him. So Marcus is tucked in behind and also ran as we hit 10 laps to go in the Firecracker. Now you also get to the point where the element of wisdom, I think, becomes a factor, especially if you get down to crunch time where you've got as many as 5 or 6 of them vying to win it. But at the present time, they are in a position where they're not really going to be able to put a whole lot of heat on Dave Marcus. He's sitting right out there kind of by himself.
Yeah, right now he just uses Bobby Allison's draft, Keith, to comfortably run away from the guys behind him.
The worst thing that could possibly happen, of course, to an Earnhardt, and it's already happened, running with that one gear, the high gear, he's fallen a lap behind, and it thinks, oh, we got a car on the wall. That's Rick Wilson. He has tapped the wall and holds on to it. Pretty good piece of driving, but he's lost some rubber, and he's going to have to get out of it. And number 29, Cale Yarborough, has gone sailing into the grass. He got involved in that shunt, apparently. There's some damage on the right front of his car, but Yarborough gets it back on the racetrack. The yellow comes out, and this changes everything. Changes everything. For one thing, it's the worst thing that could happen for Dale Earnhardt, because now everybody slows down. It's perhaps a little worse for Rick Wilson, because Rick's going to be taken out of contention now because of the shot on the wall. And it's bad news for Dave Marcus, because it now means the hot rod to Bill Elliott's going to be right up his tailpipe.
And it's very good news for Bobby Allison. Keith, Bobby's had the strongest car about the last 50 or 75 miles, and this enables Bobby to make that lap up.
So the official scoreboard looks like it's going to have maybe as few as 6 laps, possibly 7 to go if and when we get the green again. There's Wilson's car. He's pretty well beat up. I thought his right front tire blew out on him, and I saw rubber flying around. I guess it was pieces of the car, but he's coming back down into pit road, and he is without a right front tire. He's on the rim, and he's muscling it back in as we take another look at it. And it may well be, Donnie, that a tire simply blew and threw him into the wall.
Well, I think what happened, Keith, it did evidently blow out, because it's all the way on the ground right there. And when he came by us on pit road, it didn't have an inliner or nothing of it.
Boy, that's aggravating, you know, when you've got a chance to really step into one of the biggest paydays of your career, and old Lady Luck just turned her back on him.
Yeah, and they've just been having the worst luck. Last week, they blew the engine up running awfully good, and now this week, come to Daytona, run awfully good all day, and then blow a tire.
Everybody diving into the pits, waiting for the green flag to see what happens. Dale Earnhardt struggling and struggling and struggling coming out of the pits while they're working on Rick Wilson's car, and Rick is no longer a factor in this race. So we'll be back in just a moment to see the finish of the Firecracker 400. Marcus did not pit, right? Marcus did not pit? Okay. So he decides to take his chances. Alrighty. That's a little messy, but I guess it's all right. It's live television. So we got 8 laps to go. 7 laps. 7 laps coming around this time. Well, you know, Schrader could steal this thing too, couldn't he? Richmond is a lap down?
I think.
You sure? Richmond a lap down? Earnhardt back of the pack. No chance. I like Schrader's chances. Jimmy, you going to... Yeah, well, let's see where... Yeah, it depends. You know, if they don't have... I think Elliott might need at least 3 laps to do it. 11? Okay. first time a camera car ever won a race. Yeah. Okay. Darrell Waltrip, still there?
Yep. Next time around. Green's up. Anticipating green, it'll be a 5-lap race as they come down off turn 4 and head for the start-finish line. The running order is this: Dave Marcus in first place, Kent Schrader second, Bill Elliott third, Harry Gant 4, Darrell Waltrip 5, and any one of the 5 could do a number on the field. It is Marcus jumping to the lead. Marcus has the lead as they head into turn 1, and Bill Elliott's in the pits. Bill Elliott is in the pits. He is out of it. With only 5 laps to go, Marcus jumps to the lead, and Elliott is gone. That moves Harry Gant up into the number 4 spot, a 3rd spot, and shuffles Darrell Waltrip up to number 4. Remember, Waltrip, hungry, has never, ever won a major event at Daytona. He's won some short races, but never one of the big ones. But right now, here is Dave Marcus, a man who has never been in victory lane in a big one here either. And he's holding the lead with 4 laps to go as they come around. And right now, it doesn't look like anybody can catch him either, Keith. His car is awfully strong.
Dave Marcus, number 71. Right behind him, in number 90 is Ken Schrader. Schrader carrying our ABC camera. That's the man he's got to catch. With that kind of a name on his car, you figured it'd be a little slippery. Well, he's right behind him now. He picked up the draft and dropped down low on the racetrack and looked like he might have had a handling problem for a moment that allowed Marcus to pick up a little distance. But now he is hooked up in a bit of a draft with Harry Gant, and that'll help both Schrader and Gant. But you see Schrader wanting to run low, whereas Gant's going high, and coming down off turn 4, dives for the lead and can't get it as Marcus, running higher, holds on to it. making the full bid again. Here's three of them jousting, going down low.
Keith, one is really moving right now is Bobby Allison at 22. He's come all the way up behind Darrell Walter and Buddy Baker.
Buddy Baker shows up in the number 5 spot. Allison would be about 6th right now. But Marcus is still holding on to the lead with the pressure coming Schrader and Grant and Waltrip. A little gap there between 3rd and 4th place. That's car number 90 going low. That's Schrader. Schrader trying to take the lead away from Marcus. Marcus running a little more of a conservative route. And Schrader's going to get him right here.
Keith, I'll tell you what, if they're not really careful, Bobby Allison's going to win this race. Now, he's caught him. He's in the 4th place.
Bobby Allison, who struggled on, was a lap down at one time. The car has improved steadily. That's Marcus, number 71, and Schrader, number 90. And right back in behind them, you have Gant and Allison, and Baker's back there as well. And now going to the lead, it is Schrader. But Marcus not giving up, and here comes Bobby Allison coming down low. Allison is on the low groove.
Keith, they're still showing him a lap down, I believe.
Check it and see if Allison is a lap down. I thought he unwound himself earlier. He is still a lap down. He is now back on the lead lap, see, so that he did not show up on the board, but he has been very much a factor in this whole thing. The leader right now is Ken Schrader. White flag is out. They're in the final lap. Number 90, Ken Schrader. Dave Marcus could not hold him off as Schrader took the hard route going down low like that and battling through the low lane. They've got Bobby Allison posted as winning the race right now.
I thought so, Keith. I thought he was only one lap down.
Well, that's a complete redo, Mike. That has to be a redo right there.
Look.
Car number 90 turning and flipping, going into the wall, and that takes out at least 3 other cars. He looked like a tire might have blown as they came down for the finish line, and Ken Schrader's automobile gets sideways and turns over and comes sliding on its top down the racetrack. Schrader inside the car, the camera still working. As he takes the wheel, throws it out the window, and will climb out of it as the car turned upside down, keeps skittering down the racetrack, and he's going to walk away from it. And Bobby Allison has won the Firecracker 400.
Keith, I'll tell you, he did a whale of a job. He came from all the way to the back of that pack, and
I don't... Because NASCAR never had Allison on the board, and I couldn't get any confirmation up from you or anybody else as to where the hell he was. Here's the accident from the camera inside. I think he just blew a tire.
No, he got together with somebody. He didn't have a tire down until after he... That's upside down, buddy. That's with the hood up.
Yeah.
See there?
Yeah, he and Gant hooked up.
Dave Marcus touched him in the back, or they touched, and he got sideways. Then he come back and got Gant. You know, after he'd already lost it, when he come back and got Gant. He and Dave Marcus made the first contact. Didn't I tell you that?
Gappens is trying to run down Ken Schrader.
Okay, we're ready when you are. Ready when you are. All right. Okay.
You're a doctor, can't you tell?
Well, I know a doctor's on his stuff for me. Yeah. He's a darling.
That's funny. Go ahead.
Test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hey, look, his son here congratulating him. All right.
Baby, turn around.
Well, jubilation in victory lane as Bobby Allison climbs out of the Buick, winning here at Daytona. Bobby, congratulations on a super run.
Well, thank you, Jerry. I give the credit to Jimmy Finnig with that chassis and all my guys, and Keith Allman with a great engine. Keith, you know, they've worked them 24 hours a day since the carburetor rule, and there's not a greater guy in the whole world. And, of course, the Vola Brothers Miller American Buick came through for me, I'm telling you. The whole crew, their work really, really came in for me.
Last restart, I'm sure you were happy to see that yellow flag come out.
Well, I knew I needed a yellow to get caught up. And we lost that lap early when, you know, when some guy came sliding off the pit road out into the middle of traffic. And, you know, we got bent up a little bit, and the guys had to work on it during the race. And they just kept working. And we got caught up, but we needed that yellow.
Congratulations again to Bobby Allison, 49 years old, leader of the Alabama gang, wins here at Daytona.
Yeah. Or we got to redo that whole last segment. Plus the winner's interview.
You okay? Good. Change his clothes. Change his clothes. Really change up the dressing table.
Yeah. Yep.
Hey, Bill.
Hello. Yeah. Yes, I'm here. No?
Yeah. Nobody asked for the money back on that one. Let me see if he's in here.
Backed up on the back straightaway of 3 laps ago, and he is not able to hold the pace right now. Labonte pit now with Dr. Jerry Punch.
Well, problems with Terry Labonte. They are having a session here. Let's try to find out what's going on here. We'll get over here and maybe get a comment with Tim Brewer, the crew chief. Tim, what's the problem with the car?
You know, he was running Walker back over there for the lead. All of a sudden, he thought he blew a hose off the car or something. You know, it just steamed the windows up. He jumped out of the gas. Everybody went by, but everything was, you know, came back to normal. The windshield cleared up, so, you know, you got to run them back down again, I guess, Jerry.
That's Tim Brewer. There may be a potential problem. We'll keep an eye on Terry Labonte.
Well, maybe it can cure itself, but it'll be an upset if it does. The field now is relatively strung out. You've got some of them running 2 abreast, back in the number 8, 9, and 10 position. But right now, out there humming all by himself is Dale Earnhardt.
He's over here. Here's his wife. You okay, Ann?
Yeah, he just wanted to find out if Baker was a lap down and how Allison got ahead of the lap. Yeah. You don't know?
No.
Are they checking it, I wonder?
This is Schrader's wife. This is Ken Schrader's wife. Do you want his wife as well or not? Huh? To us on HQ?
Oh, I'm sure he will.
Okay.
He just has to get dressed.
Okay. See your glasses here. Yeah. Or the Red Sox. Huh? Or the Red Sox. Signal Lord. Let's go down here and get ready for him. Right, well, we have to move out into here. Yeah. Well, they go.
or no, I'm estimating. We gotta get farther away from the building. Okay. We're gonna receive the rest of the point. Yeah, I'm at it. Yeah, we'll do it. They know we're waiting on Schrader, right? Yeah. Hey, Benny, you okay? Pretty rare that one says otherwise.
Yeah? I'm waiting on Schrader to come out of the hospital. I'm outside the infield hospital waiting on Schrader to come out. He's getting his clothes on. He'll be out in a second. Well, I have it right here. He finished 7th, Jimmy. Jimmy finished 7th. I'll move it out in better position in a second. We'll move out into a better position. We'll move out.